Hello students, I am soft skills trainer from Department of Career Planning and Development, Chandigarh University. So today we'll be working out your tenses. So in tenses we'll be covering past tense. So in past tense we have four subcategories: simple past, past continuous, past perfect and past perfect continuous. We'll be looking at these tenses one by one. So let's start with simple past. So the formation for simple past for positive sentence is subject plus verb second form plus object. The example: the little boy fed the fish in the pond. And for the negative sentence you just need to add did not or didn't plus verb first form plus object. I did not wish to talk to about that matter. Rule for simple past: number one, simple past is actually used to denote past action. She went to the park an hour ago. If time is mentioned in a sentence, then past tense is used: I came yesterday. So in the note you actually need to remember these three words: it's time, it's high time, it's about time. Okay, so whenever your sentence starts with any one of them, so you'll be after the subject you'll be using verb second form. So it's time you should study is not the correct way of writing the sentence. The correct way or the right usage is it's time you studied. Okay, then it's your past continuous. The formation for past continuous is for positive sentence: subject plus was were plus verb first form plus ing plus object. So students, you need to understand where actually you are using verb first form and where you are using third and the second form. For simple past I told you that you will be using verb second form, but for past continuous, because you will be using was were, then you will be using verb first form. At times student might get confused in this thing. Okay, so I was reading a newspaper. For the negative, she was not eating a burger. The sentence formation: subject plus was were plus not plus verb first form plus ing plus object. Okay, rules are simple. The past past continuous tense expresses the action or task that were going in the past, that were going on in the past. We cannot determine when the action started or finished. I was waiting for you, but again I cannot tell you when he started waiting and when his wait got over. So he was planning for his future studies. The husband was reading a book and the wife was sitting beside him. So again, past continues to represent the action or to denote the action or express the actions that were ongoing in the past. Past perfect. So this is the one that you need to really pay attention to. For positive sentence, subject plus had plus verb third form. Again, verb third form is used with had. Okay, plus object. He had worked as a cashier in this bank. For negative sentence, subject plus had plus not plus verb third form plus object. It had rained heavily last year when the roads flooded with water. Okay, this is the way of writing your past perfect. So the rule says past perfect tense indicates the finished or completed actions of the past. Okay, now one thing that you need to remember about the past perfect is generally it carries two actions. Okay, that's how we actually used our past perfect. Generally in most of the sentences we have two actions. Well, exceptions are always there, but for example that you need to look at these sentences carefully and understand how these sentences are framed. Okay, so if in a sentence there are two actions, okay, we are actually talking about past. In the past they were two actions that actually happened. Okay, so for first action we use past perfect, and for the second action we use simple present. So just try and imagine this thing. This is your line. If you go this way it's your present or future, you can, and if you go this way it's your past. So in past you had two actions, action number 1 and action number 2. So for action number 1 that happened prior to action number 2, so for this particular action you will be using had or past perfect, and for the subsequent action, after action number 1, you will be using simple past. I hope you have visualized how you'll be using past perfect. So just understand this sentence: I saw him before he stopped his car. So there's two action, that means he saw that particular person and stopping the car. So I had seen him before he stopped, I had seen him before he stopped his car. So understand this thing. So the first action, actually the person saw him and then the car got stopped, or the person stopped the car. So there were two actions. The first action was seeing the particular person, and the second action was stopping of the car. So that's why we have used past perfect with the first action and simple past with the second action. So before he understood anything, the robber fled. So try and understand what's the first action and what's the second action. The first action is fleeing of robber, that means robber fled, fled, and the second action is his understanding. So before he understood anything, the robber had fled. Okay, I met him after I finished my work. So the first action is finishing of work and then the meeting. So I met him after I had finished my work. Okay, by the time I reached the theater, the show started. So the first action is starting of the show, because only after the starting of the show that particular person reached. So by the time I reached the theater, the show had started. So I hope you paid close attention to past perfect rules. Then is your past perfect continuous. So for past perfect continuous, you have subject plus had plus been plus verb first form plus ing object for since plus time. Okay, so I had been waiting for you since morning. For negative, he had not been playing the game since morning. So actually your past perfect continuous is actually used for the action started in the past, continued in the past, and ended in the past. So he had not been playing the game since morning, he had been waiting for you since morning. That's the thing. So some practice question. Okay, you need to find the error. So by the time we got our tickets and entered the cinema theater, the show was already begun. So what's the error? The error is in C, use had in place of was. The show had. So by the time we got our ticket, so that means they got their ticket late. The first action was the starting of the show in the cinema hall. The show had, not was. Past perfect. Gauri told me his name after he left. So there are two actions. Try and understand, try and guess what is the right answer. So Gauri told me his name after. So the first action is that person is leaving and then Gauri telling his name. So had after he. So the correct is Gauri told me his name after he had left. So there is this error in C. Question number 3. Old age and infirmity had began to catch up with him. It's a really simple one. The error is in C. Error is in B. Sorry, it's A. Then B. It should be B in here. So old age and infirmity had begun. So you'll be using third form of the verb, not began. Okay, begin, began, begun is the three form of the verb for begin. Okay, so the passerby told us where was the marriage hall and even led us to it. So the error is in B. Yes, was after, because it's not a question. So the passerby told us where the marriage hall was. Okay, and even led us to it. It's not a question, and that's why we'll be using this was after the marriage hall. I have passed the examination 2 years ago. Now understand this thing. Time has already been mentioned and you cannot use. So understand this thing. Whenever time is mentioned, you cannot use perfect form, be it in simple perfect or your past perfect or present perfect. You cannot use perfect tense with when time has already been mentioned. Okay, so I passed is the correct way because time is mentioned. Okay, the driver is in Spate and it had overflown its bank. The river, sorry, not driver, the river is in Spate and it has overflown. So overflowed is the right way, verb third form, overflowed should be used. So I hope you grasped all the subtypes of past tense. Thank you very much, students.